What's the best game you can buy on PC? Wrong. It's Simpsons Hit and Run. And today we're testing it on some of the best hardware you can buy, an i9-14900K and 4080 Super. Okay, so with that informal introduction out of the way, hello everyone and welcome to another video. Now today we're testing the Simpsons Hit and Run with two modern high-end components, the i9-14900K, albeit limited to 125 watts for the sake of my air cooler, and an RTX 4080 Super. These components have no business being paired with such an old game, but I wanted to test it out because it is sometimes fun and interesting to see how old games handle themselves or are handled by modern components like this. Sometimes it can be an absolute disaster, things don't work properly. Speaking of which, I am using Lucas's mod launcher, which does fix a few things with the game. It allows us to enable a few options, one of which is actually widescreen resolutions and higher resolution, so we can select 3840 by 2160 or 4K, for example. So let's get into it. We'll talk you through the settings now. That's it. Color depth 32 or 16-bit, display mode full screen or window, and we can play around with the gamma. No other advanced options to speak of, so we'll jump into the game, begin the first mission with Marge, and most importantly enable the frame rate overlay, which does reveal that we're running at over 600 frames per second. Now you're probably thinking, this is good, I'm running at over 600 frames per second, and not only that, but my i9 is only being utilised at about 3%. Yeah, it's still running at almost 60 degrees, interestingly though, and consuming about 60 watts of power. For the 4080 Super, well, that seems to be struggling a bit, 92-93% utilisation, so that's still being put through its paces at this resolution, using about 125 watts of power for that. The game has assigned about 1.8 gigabytes so far of VRAM, and we're actually utilising about 898 megabytes at these settings. So 4K resolution and using less than 1 gigabyte of VRAM, which is pretty interesting. Now the problem with the Simpsons Hit and Run is that running it at over 60 FPS can be absolutely disastrous. It can cause some serious carnage with the physics. This was actually designed to run at 60 FPS, not lower and not more than, from what I recall. Whoa, see, that's what I mean. It completely messes up the physics to the point where racing missions can become unplayable. We're going to jump into one of those shortly and see. Don't want to hit a child, we'll just hit that woman and that man instead. Never mind, we'll also hit Abe Simpson there, sorry. I'm not doing this on purpose, I'm trying to stop the car, but it just seems to have a bit of a mind of its own, especially when running at close to 700 frames per second. So we'll get on top of the secret garden, something I used to love to do on the PS2 release of the game. I don't think the physics affects much on foot. I also have a free cam mod enabled from within the Lucas launcher, which lets us move things freely. It makes it so much more enjoyable to play with a keyboard and mouse in 2024. I'm used to playing it on the PS2, so I had a little bit more freedom of movement with the controls there, but it's just so much more enjoyable with a few little tweaks enabled. It's definitely the way I'd recommend playing in 2024, that's for sure. We'll just snag a few more coins from the B there. It's been a long while since I've played through it properly, put it that way. We'll also get the Crab Juice collector card, I remember that, and we'll head into the Quickie Mart, where hopefully the physics won't let us down, but not before getting some coins out of the Buzz Cola machine. I absolutely love this game, part of my childhood on the PlayStation 2. I think it came out on a couple of other consoles as well, GameCube, I want to say. Whoa, some serious stutters in here. Terrible performance. We dropped to almost 400 frames per second. That is unacceptable. I'll skip the cutscenes because we don't have subtitles, so you probably can't hear what's going on because the audio is either very low or muted. But we'll drive back to the Simpsons house now. I love the nods to the TV episodes as well, like we have Frostillicus here, we have Nelson just wailing on Milhouse in the background. That really destroyed the frame rate. Down to almost 200 FPS, unplayable, refund, shocking. Right, so we'll get back in the car, try not to hit any more pedestrians. Look at the state of it. It's just beaten up, isn't it? We'll try and get back without causing any more physics related issues. A nice sensible drive back to the Simpsons family house, I think, with no problems. Sorry, pal. Yeah, the physics issues don't occur all of the time. They just sort of take you by surprise. I'm really sorry, I didn't mean to do that. We'll try not to wipe out Marge as well as we pull up on the driveway. We'll talk to Marge. I think this begins the racing mission, so it'll be a good idea. Yeah, it'll be a good chance to see whether or not it's still playable like this. 60 FPS is your best bet. You can either limit the frame rate within the mod launcher, or you can do it from within Reaver Tuner. So if you've got MSI Afterburner, you'll have Reaver Tuner as well, most likely. So jump into that, limit it to 60 FPS, of course. But for the sake of this video, we want things unlimited so that you can see the true power of these modern components when playing this older game. I am also running 4K on a 1080p monitor. I really hope the physics don't cause us to fail this mission. Yeah, 4K on a 1080p monitor, thanks to the DSR settings in the NVIDIA control panel. We can also run 8K and 16K using a custom DSR tool, which I've also, yeah, that's completely broken, which I've also enabled, so we'll try that in a minute. I have a feeling 16K will break the game because I'm really surprised it actually runs in 4K. I don't think the smoke is supposed to be billowing out the family vehicle like that. Absolute scenes outside the school here. Inside the school here really slows us down as well. I've noticed that interiors have a big impact on the frame rate. Ralph's just drinking some paint in the background there. Let's talk to Lisa, who really creeps me out in this game, so I'm not going to hang around long. Quick, let's run away. It doesn't work in video game format, in my opinion. But there we go, mission complete. There will be the occasion, like that for example, that just does not look right. There's smoke coming out of there. And of course, when you're trying to drive around the city sometimes, it will be pure carnage, but I think it all adds to the fun. Now then, I'm going to jump back into the menu. We'll end the benchmark for the 4K results, and we'll try and enable 8K resolution. As you can see, we have up to 16K. Not going to enable that. I have bad feelings about that, but we'll try 8K now. I'll pause the video before doing so that I don't completely break it and jam the game up and lose my footage. Guess who, right, out of everyone speaking to you right now, guess who forgot to save? I'll give you one good guess. Guess who forgot to save their progress before quitting? Well, guess who really didn't have a choice because the game completely froze up and I should have saved, or they should have saved, before we tried to change the resolution? Yes, if you guessed me, you are correct. No prizes for your correct guess. But then if we jump into the options now, you can see we do have 8K resolution selected at the maximum, what I presume is the maximum settings, because we can't change anything else. We are running at 8K now with 170-ish frames per second. What I will say is that the physics are slightly better. I know that things do get pretty broken over 60 frames per second, but the difference between running at 150 and nearly 700 is that of much smoother, sorry pal, physics. Yeah, it's not as broken. Still a little bit broken here and there. Sorry Marge, just wiped you out. Let's get back to the quickie mart. Actually, we'll just, what are we doing? We'll just have a drive around. You know, we'll just cruise around here at 8K resolution, fix the car up. The physics are still busted, but not as bad as they were. Simpsons Hit and Run, very enjoyable at this resolution. In terms of utilisation, the CPU usage has gone down 2%. Okay, I've just completed the task accidentally, so we may as well finish it now, hadn't we? We may as well go back in and get the ice cream. 1% utilisation now. The GPU really being put through its paces with this classic 97% usage. Okay, so before switching to 16K or trying it, I'm going to do something really clever. I'm going to hit save. There we go. Look at that. My progress is safe. So whatever happens now, everything will be fine. I won't have to go through the same two missions for the 800th time. We'll jump into the options. We shall select or see if the option for 16K is there. I think I showed you just now. Yeah, it's definitely there. We're going to click apply changes. Wait for it to jam. Oh, maybe not. Yeah, it has jammed up a little bit. Well, it's either jammed or not, isn't it really? A little bit doesn't make sense. What I'm going to do is restart. Look at everything, how tiny it is now on screen. I'm going to restart the PC again and try and set 16K from outside of the game, because the option is there, so it might do it, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so you're probably wondering why I'm running in a tiny window, and interestingly, the game will allow us to select 15360 by 8640 or 16K, but in order to actually make the window a bit more giant, we need to select windowed mode, and then when we try and go back to full screen mode, we get an error saying it does not support these settings, which is interesting, and I can't actually set it to full screen from outside of the game, nor can I enable the MSI Afterburn overlay because we're not in full screen or windowed borderless mode, I guess. But yeah, an interesting result here. We are in 16K mode, and it does feel okay to play. Not proper 16K, I guess, because we are still windowed. But we're running internally, I guess, at 16K, albeit on a 1080p display. Some stutters here and there. Can't really tell you exactly how it's running, but to be fair, I'd rather... What has happened now? The physics are still broken, as you can see. At least my game did save, however, I think. But yeah, 16K Simpsons hit and run. I don't think it's a problem for the 4080 Super, only in the fact that you can't full screen it properly. And there are some noticeable little stutters here and there too, but I'm going to call it a day here. Yeah, some big stutters actually. Physics are even worse now than they were at 8K resolution. He's just dived halfway across the map to get out of the way of my car. But I'm going to call it a day. The classic that is Simpsons hit and run. No problems on the high-end 4080 Super at 4K or 8K. But just stay away from 16K res. There are a few stutters as well, even in windowed. Yeah, this is broken. We need to enable a 60 FPS cap. Also enable a 60 FPS cap no matter the resolution that you're playing, to be honest, if you want the physics to work correctly. This is an old game, of course, so issues do exist. As you can see here, yeah, this is insane now. It was not this bad before. We've got stutter, we've got physics problems, it's pure chaos. Thank you for watching. That toilet up there basically sums up the performance now. Yeah, thank you, and I'll see you next time.